What's happening, people, and welcome into another episode of All You Can Eat Warriors, and we are ready to go. Viva Las Vegas! It is time. In the great words of the Bruce Buffer, who I think Bruce Buffer is going to be there, probably announcing it. Yeah, man.
Okay.
Vegas, bro, it's upon us. Ash, how you feeling, man? You feeling good?
Yeah. Excited, but the footy season's about to start. Round 0 on its way, and bro, Viva Las Vegas! Doesn't it roll off the tongue so well? It's just meant to be. Really excited to see all those New Zealand fans going over there supporting our Warriors, and hopefully the boys get a really nice dub over the Canberra Raiders that are scrapping on in elevators and that. Shout out to the Canberra Raiders.
Goodness, inflatables, man! We need to get inflatables instead of having corner posts. Have some inflatables. So if you score in the corner, it activates an inflatable. And then you can start whacking each other. That'd be a great little gimmick, eh? That'd be a great little
classic
gimmick.
NRL players, right? Just rugby league players, right? We do it different, don't we?
Oh, bro, we there's never a dull day. You just know, it's like when you're telling kids, okay, guys, you can't do this, this is what we're supposed to do and this is what we're not supposed to do. And you just know with NRL players, they're never going to fully listen. They're never going to follow you to a T. I mean, our boys are pretty good. I'm knocking on wood. They don't do anything silly, but you just know. You always hate for it, do you? You really do.
Me and the bro, we were talking about it today at work, having a little giggle and all that. And out of all teams for it to happen to, Ricky Stewart's coach side to happen to, out of all the coaches that would blow their top off of certain things, it had to be Ricky Stewart's side, right? Like he would be going absolutely mental, pulling his hair out. It's so crazy.
Yeah, man. Now, Ricky, Ricky's copped a bit of flack, hasn't he? He's, yeah. Now, well, welcome in, you guys. We welcome in everyone. You can see the chat is lighting up and everyone's slowly coming in. It's great to see everyone in. Lots to cover, guys. We've got to break down some big talking points. And we're not going to hold you up, guys. We're pretty much going to get straight into it. But I just want to acknowledge everyone in the chat. Welcome in, everyone. And people that are new here as well. Welcome in, guys. Get ready for the ride, guys. It starts this Sunday, and we know what it's like, man. It's a roller coaster, no matter what way. Even if you're going up for a long time, sometimes you drop down and it goes all the way down. But we're hoping we stay up. We want that ride to be 100%. Like, Ash will know the Gold Coast. The old what's it? I wanted the Superman.
Is it the giant Superman? Drop or the
the giant drop?
The Tower of Terror. The Superman ride.
The Superman run. We just shoot straight out at 200 miles per hour. That's what I want. I just want pure speed straight from the top, bro. Now, but welcome in everyone, and we'll get to you guys' comments and stuff throughout. But look, man, let's just break down this team list straight away, guys. I'm going to read it out for you if you haven't seen it or yet. For this Sunday's game against the Raiders, we got at the back, Charles Nickel-Klokstad. Tane Tuopiki on the right wing, as predicted by us. Leatoa on that right centre as well. Pompey comes back off the Indigenous game, and Roger, that's where he is going to be people. I think we're solidified that he is going to be our left wing for this year. And now everyone that has been praying and asking for it, Chanel Harris Tavita is
Ooh,
your
Josh.
number 6. Josh Hill will be very happy, as will many others, and Luke Metcalf as well, which was pretty much, we all agreed on Luke being there. Fish is back with Wade, Egan, and Barnett. That's going to be those 3 I'm looking forward to, like just seeing how they all gel, how they work together. Then you got
100%.
Kate Well with Mr. Consistent, Marata, and Aaron Clark. We all said that about Aaron. And then this bench, you called it, Ash, actually. Dylan Walker, Jackson Ford, Dimitri Vaimaunga, and Leka Halasima. That's great. Good to see the young boys in there. Sam Healy at 18th. I think they were still discussing, what they're going to really do. I know word was coming out of camp that Webby wasn't sure what they're going to do with that 17th man. I'm happy with that if they go with it. But you can tell it's definitely something they've thought about. So, but man, what's your overall thoughts of the squad, man? The 17.
Yeah, very positive, bro. Top to bottom, I think everyone that's in a spot deserves to be there in their own right. Obviously it's well known that I like Tamite Martin in that 6 jersey, but I'm also happy to see Shinoa Davida in that 6 jersey as well. So either way, I'm going to be cheering both those boys on. Both of them obviously have strengths and weaknesses to the way they play their football. I think that left side kicking game with his left foot probably helped him in that area as well, and played a really good trial. And we all know Chanel, very sturdy in defense. He can make something out of nothing and attack at times as well. And hopefully, him and Luke Metcalf come together. I think this is the biggest thing with us, this whole discussion is these are the boys we're going to be starting off the season with. Let's hope that we sit in stone. We set this in stone. Webby rolls this out for, 10 weeks or so, see how it goes. If it does need to be changes, we'll see that a little bit later on down the track, but hopefully we give this halves connection a really good chance, because nothing frustrates me more in NRL than, forced, halves changes and all that well too early and people just blowing teams up straight away. That's not how sports work. That's not how footy works. I think that's the biggest thing that I have on our mind. Other than that, seeing our 2 juniors, Dimitri Vaimwanga and Eleka Alasima on the bench as well. Very, very excited to see both those boys have a lot bigger minutes and a bigger role this year for the New Zealand Warriors. So hopefully we start off with a really nice win.
I hope so, guys. And just quickly on that point, me and Ash have always been, advocates of Tamari's game, and people know that, but also CHT. I've come around to CHT when I saw it with Metcalf, I understood why he works with Metcalf, and sometimes you have to see it to kind of understand it. But we've always said here that we'll back the halves, whoever Webby selects. So for me, these 2 here, I want to give them. I've said full season, but I actually want to give them a good 12 to 13 weeks up until the halfway point. Don't think there's any point chopping and changing at this point. I think we're going to back these 2, let them work it out. Even if they have a down period, let them figure out all those things. So we're backing these 2, and it's not like we hate CHT or we dislike them. We're just trying to find the best balance. And if this is the best balance and Webby's decided it, we're all for it. So I'm looking forward to him and Metcalf specifically on the weekend. Man, I think I'm really happy with it. Like, I'm happy everyone's starting that should be starting. RTS off the bat, there's no injuries, there's no real. I mean, Dallin, of course, we understand it, but we're excited to see what Contain can do. CNK looks healthy. Again, we got the young bucks and Leotoa, Egan, Fisher Harris, the big signing is playing. There's nothing. We're going to find out pretty much from the start all the guys that we've kind of invested in, and see how they go. So I think it's a perfect squad. Happy everyone's come unscathed pretty much from preseason. Exactly. It looks pretty good, and I think everyone in the chat's quite happy with that as well. If I'm reading through the comments there.
It's like, very similar. Like, if you look at teams like the Rabbitohs coming to the season, the injury toll that they've carried now, obviously
great point.
Off season. No Cam Murray, Latrell's out for a decent period for them. Campbell
Great
Graham's
call.
still trying to run back, get back into a lineup sometime in the next coming weeks for them. But, we've been fairly unscathed. Dallin, still a decent loss to us, but Tane can fill a role, and he's done very good in that role. And everyone else that needs to be there. Rocco's the only other player that we will be waiting on him coming back. But Bumpy, as we all know, can fill in and do a job there in that center position as well. So I'm not too worried in that connection there either. Overall, top to bottom, I'm pretty happy with this lineup overall, right? Like, I don't really see too many big gaping holes where I'm like, I don't like that. I think everyone's got potential to play a really good game, have a really good season for us in New Zealand Warriors colours. So I'm really excited, bro. I really am excited.
Yeah. Let's just sit in a little bit more on CHT and Metcalf a bit. Do you could see that this could be a combination of the future? I mean, we've got CHT come back from retirement. He's still relatively young. He played a lot of footy as a young player, but now he's kind of, both players are in that sweet spot, I suppose, 24 to 26 or 27. That's when you really start to blossom and grow. Do you see these two specifically could develop into a long-form combo of multiple years? Or do you think this is kind of a short-term combination until we find something even better? Or what's your thoughts around this situation?
Yeah, these guys definitely have the ability to be a long form type of halves pairing that we could have into many years to come. Obviously, it's well known that Luke Metcalf wanted to stand up and be that number 7 for us this year. So for me, he locked down that halfback jersey. He wants to be the number 7, and Chanel probably compliments him. For some people, a lot better than what Tomato did in the 6 jersey. I think with Tanner Boyd around, I think Tanner's a 7. He's not a 6 for me. And if we're going to be running with Luke Metcalf as a sole number 7, he's going to be the guy kind of running us around the traps. He's going to be a hybrid 7, but he wants to be the guy, right? Like with the kicking boot, all that sort of stuff. Chanel's going to be more of the guy that helps him out if he gets stuck with the kicking boot at times, or help him out in those sort of areas where with Tanner, I think the best part of his game is game management. It's never been playing off the back of something like a 6 usually has to do. The way we usually play our football, our 6 is for some people, is very quiet at times, right? That's why Luke was so good at that position, because he's got game-breaking speed. He's got that X factor to where, like, he can just play off the back of a 7, like, Sean Johnson. And I think out of the rest of them, like, I was obviously singing the praise of Tomato Martin. A lot of people obviously say he's really quiet in that 6 jersey. We need to start looking elsewhere. Chanel can pull his weight in many different areas. Defensively, very sound. Both these boys, as you said, still got a little bit of footy left in them as well. They're fairly young. If they build a connection, get really close, and they get the team around the park, we got strike everywhere. I just see this boding well for us in the future. With both these guys, as I said, like Chanel has proved it on big stages as well. And Luke Metcalf obviously wanting to be the 7 for the future. He's got full confidence in his game, and I love that.
Yeah. I mean, it's very much a potential thing. We obviously need to see these guys play it out, and we're hoping they do really well. But if you're thinking from an age point and experience point, these guys are ready to go into their prime, even if in their individual careers, even if they're not together. So I think it could be. I think you're bang on about Tanner Boyd. I think he is an organising half, but you just don't know with injuries. Again, I always say, please, Metcalf, if anything, just stay healthy, and I think he will. I think he's going to be required not to be so much of a running player. He's going to have to be an organizer. So maybe he's not on the end of those line breaks. Sometimes, when he's, someone goes through the line and he's a support player like a traditional 6. But either way, I think he'll do a good job. And I think hopefully we'll get to know actually the two and how they combine pretty much quite early on. So look, they very well could be. But health and those types of things is what's important as well. So, but you love to see it. You love to see a halves combo go together, right? We've seen Cleary and Luai. We've seen those patterns of 2 halves that have played multiple games and seasons together becoming a halves pairing. So no, I'm all for it. And hopefully it goes well.
And both their mentality, right? Like, you look at the type of people that they are. I don't think there's any like it could be any real friction there in the halves of like, as I said like before, Luke Metcalf's full of confidence and he wants to be the number 7. If we take that 7 jersey away from him, put him back in the 6, I worry where his confidence kind of sits there too. You know what I mean? He wants to be in the number 7. He wants to take over. Where Chanel, he's a character that can take the second fiddle sort of role. He can, take the back foot step, right, where he can play off the back of Luke Metcalf. Where some of our other pairings that we could have came up with, I do feel like it would had to take a little bit more time for it to really work out properly. Chanel's probably the easiest for out of every one of our halves to really play next to someone and really make it work. Tamati, Martin, Chanel played against with each other and they worked fairly well because of that. He allowed Tamati to be the more dominant out of the two and played off the back of it. I'm sure he's going to do very similar things with Luke Metcalf outside of him as well.
And that's a very good point. Every iteration of Chanel has always been as a 6. Yeah. So whereas the other iterations for Metcalf and Tamati has been 7 and 6. So I think it's very solid in his role as a 6 for CHT. And that left-sided kicker, I think, like I mentioned last week, it's going to benefit Tamati immensely in terms of, benefit Metcalf in terms of giving him extra support and help. You never know, teams always can weigh that kick pressure on you. If they can start to predict what side you're going to kick from. Yeah, so that's always good. Okay, let's move into the Young Bucks, man. I mean, we're all kind of really G'd up about the guys. I think unfortunate Laban misses out, but I think that's understandable. We know Catewell, New Corday, and even Ford is kind of that's your cover and experience as well. And back row is a position that needs to be quite solid and experienced. And so we can understand that. But for the other guys, Lea Toa, Vaimaonga, and Halasima, what a great opportunity. And in your prediction, Ash, do you think these guys will hit the ground running? Are they, us as fans, we always promote the youth, but then sometimes when the youth get an opportunity and it doesn't go too well, we're critical of the youth. A la Ed Kossi and his debuts and time, in Melbourne. So what can we expect from them? And if they do, are they ready? And if they do have a downturn or have a bad game, how do we as fans need to kind of stay patient with these guys? You know what I mean? What's your thoughts here?
I think what sets these two guys apart, and I've said it multiple times to where when I rank a lot of the boys that are coming through the grades is, I think these guys are mentality monsters, right? I think the confidence that both these guys play with, I don't think it wavers throughout any part of the game. Like Leka plays like he's like, honestly, he's so aggressive. He takes it to the game. Vaimaonga, he takes it to the game. He will throw the odd offload here and there. We've seen it in trials, but they have a ton of ability and they have a ton of confidence. And I think that's what helps them. Obviously, I believe they're going to really take a massive step this year and really hit the ground running, as you kind of touched on. Do they hit the ground running? I believe they will. Every time we've seen him jump up into first grade, they've had incredible performances. We remember last year, Leka against the Dogs in his first big performance, almost won us that game. Vaimaonga had some amazing moments for us when he first debuted and that, and even the game last year against the Dolphins, the big try to get us back in to really almost nick that game as well. These boys have full of confidence, they're full of talent, and I think they will hit the ground running, bro. As soon as they grab that opportunity, it's going to be really, really hard to take it off them. And as you know, I've always been a guy that worries about certain players that we put in too early. I think Webby's done a very good job at this period of just like holding it. All right, now, guys, we don't really have any other choice. These guys have got to play now. And I think that we're going to see that next step up. I think a lot of people were critical last year with Webby holding these younger boys down, but I think he's done a very good job of like giving them tastes of first grade. They know what it takes to get there. They know how to play when they get up in that stage. And I'm sure they're going to hit the ground running as well, bro. But mentality monsters, that's what I'm going to really call it, is both these boys just have that attacking, aggressive mentality. And I absolutely love that.
Yeah, I love their energy. You can tell it's immediate. It's infectious. It's impactful. It's not just loose cannon rage. I think even Dimitrix kind of channeled his game even more from 2023 when he got his debut. Leka is really, mate, that break. What I said, that was the best center run of the year, and he wasn't even a center last year. And crazy talent. So I'm excited for them. Lea Toa for me is the one that's probably going to be, He's the most steady Eddie one, and he's had the most time out of probably the three of them. But he feels like he's going to become a solid pro for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm really excited for those guys, and hoping they do well. I think yeah, and give them the time and the opportunity, even if things go a bit pear shaped. We know Ali has had his moments at times,
Yeah.
and he's always 2 or 3 years in now. But I think Ali actually kind of he had a good. Did he have a good season last year? I remember 2023. He had the back
Yeah.
ends of his season was poor, but I think he was kind of consistent last year, if I'm remembering. Yeah, when he came on.
Yeah, he had some big moments last year. He had the Dolphins game where he had a couple of errors in that one, but he also had that amazing big line break that opened up that big opportunity before he got knocked out by the big knee of Ed Gossi. And then the Sharkies game, he just ran straight over the top of Nico Hines. He's had big moments. He showed ability in that area, and this year looks like he's learned a lot of the lessons of the past, and he's gotten really fit too. Like he looks stronger, bigger, stronger, and he's got put up in lights now. So I think there's a lot of ability there.
Well, actually, now that I'm talking about Ale and even the likes of Monty 4, that they have been surpassed. Well, at the moment, we think they've been surpassed by Dimitri and Leka. What does it say for Ale, the likes of Ale? Is he now back in the picking order lower, even lower now? And Bunty as well? Or was it kind of they're going to fight for those spots every week? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I would say that that 17 jersey is still as Webby has brought up, he's pretty solid with his 1 to 16. I think looking at this lineup here, I think the only changes I reckon he would have is maybe Dallin in for Tane if Dallin was healthy, and maybe Rocco in for Bompy if Rocco was healthy. Everything else from top to bottom, I think that's probably his predicted lineup for 16. That 17 jersey has always been the one that he's always just gone, that's just a player that he's going to chuck in there maybe for game reliance. I hope obviously it's good to see Leka get the first shot there. It shows that he's jumped the pecking order. He looks like the guy that's next cab off the rank with our juniors. But with Bunty and Ale, I think they are the guys that are probably fighting for that 17 jersey, if not playing a lot more cup and being like those gatekeeper type of players. You will see them there if their depth really gets we lose a couple of these forwards there. They have the ability to step up and play good football. But I don't think we're going to see them as consistent unless we have a big injury toll, right? And I think they bode well. Not many other rugby league sides in the competition have depth like that in those positions as well. So point. I think they are going to be more of a depth play for me this year.
I think that's where we talked about it last week, is that depth looks solid. Like, even if we have an injury crisis, should we say, we do look pretty healthy. If we got likes of Ale, Bunty, you got Tamaida, you got Tanner Boyd and Cup, you got other guys in there. So yeah, I feel we should, if we even have, I feel confident with that. But that's a great sign for like the Vaimonga and Halasima, that they actually getting earmarked above those boys, and those boys, Ali in particular, have been in above them in terms of the last 2 years. So good signs for progression. And this is what we wanted from Webby last year, but I think Webby kind of said, "Halt, just let these boys hold it." But we couldn't help it last year. We wanted something fresh. But
I know
you get it now, and you kind of understand. Okay, we just had to be a bit more patient. So. But it is here, and we'll get to see, bro. The big lights of Vegas. Just to see Leka Halasima or Vaimonga get a try would be like far out. That would be like, man, that'd be amazing.
No bigger stage for those boys just yet, bro. It's the biggest game for their career, going over across the seas, and a big showcase at Vegas. I think those boys are going to absolutely love that. And as I keep saying, they're mentality monsters. They're going to attack the game no matter what, and that's what I'm really excited for. I don't think both these guys hide in their shell. They want the football in their hands, and they want to make plays. So that's what I'm excited for.
Let's move to another topic, Aaron Clark, and I think specifically with Aaron, it's around the idea of Tohu, and that we've lost Tohu, someone who was such a pivotal leader, and I don't think we should connect Aaron and Tohu in terms of all their attributes. We're specifically talking about a role at lock. Exactly. Do you think? I think Aaron's taken the bull by the horns in terms of owning that starting role. He hasn't, from what I've observed, felt pressure to be like a Tohu and play out the back. He's pretty much very direct in his running game. Do you think? I mean, as we come upon the season and things will start to play out, do you think Aaron will have a good season in that role, and that that role will be a little bit different this year, and will that work? What's your opinion on Aaron?
Yeah, bro, I'm really excited. Going off just the preseason trials in a Warriors jersey, it looked like he fit into our system fairly well. As you said, like, you know, when I first saw him coming over, I was like, yeah, he's still got the ball playing and all that, but we haven't seen that much of his ball playing in the preseason trials. He's been very direct. He's been very composed. I think he's going to be the guy that's going to take a lot of the heat of the first 20 minutes or so, and then Dylan Walker comes off the bench and really plays expansive type of football. But even with Aaron there, I think he's got ability to play that short ball at the line. I think he's got a lot of attributes that we really would love in that 13 jersey. He's got great foot speed, good balance. He's got great hips. He knows how to attack a line. I think that this is what a lot of fans of a general rugby league have been waiting for with Aaron Clark. You know, watching the Titans week in, week out, a lot of fans have just been very confused of how the Titans use Aaron Clark. There was moments where he was a 9 over there and they were trying to makeshift him into areas. We're going to see him as a middle forward now. That's his progression for his career. And I think that he's going to take that with both hands. You know, he had one opportunity with us earlier on in his career. He's moved over to the Titans, made a name for himself. He's back home now. And I think he wants to take that opportunity. So I think he's going to have a great year, bro. And I think that he's going to really surprise a lot of people that maybe have doubted him. I haven't seen too many doubters, but I think that he bodes very well for the forward pack that we have. I think he fits in really, really well for the future that we're trying to build with the Warriors right now, right?
Yeah, I agree, man. I think, yeah, I don't think anyone's comparing him to Toy, and I think we'll all kind of agree that Toy was his own player, and his skill set was crazy. But I think Aaron was probably what we need, an up-tempo, hard-running player. I'm looking forward to seeing getting a baseline for his numbers. I think we're going to see a baseline for minutes across the board, and that'll be interesting to see what those numbers are. Specifically, if we go with a four-man, forward pack type bench. So that's going to be exciting. But no, I'm big on Aaron. I've loved him. I know people try to compare him to Jazz. I always knew it wasn't a like for like as such. And he brings a bit more variety and a bit more skill to him. So, look, man, let's just quickly change tack to the co-captain JFH. Again, I think people similar to Aaron, you can fall into a trap, or at least the AFB versus JFH discussion. I think it's hard to compare the two, and both bring different skills. But you know, at least for us, a team that we struggled defensively last year, we kind of lost the plot in many ways. You know, highlighting the 66-6, the Titans was probably the very low point of the season. Which probably lean towards needing more leadership, needing more players that are buying in, and then JFH is what we hear in terms of signings. Do you think he's going to have that cultural impact on the club? And then obviously his individual game. Do you think it's going to be enough? And I know people will be big on like meters. We need, we're losing we're losing an extra 100 meters by. You know what I mean? People will get, when things go wrong, they're going to say, "Hey, we this isn't a like for like replacement. Why did we get JFA?" Because people will focus on that. What do you make of it? What should you be encouraging people to like really think about in terms of what he brings and to understand his game, because it's a different game. But yeah, what's your thoughts on that, Ash?
Yeah, like, these conversations always get brought up. And I think the first example I want to bring up of this is like, if anyone watches MMA, everyone knows that MMA never works. MMA math never works, right? Like you start thinking that this fight versus this fight, they beat this guy. That means they should be better than the other guy, right? Like that never, and it doesn't work in NRL as well. Like, every player's built different. You got different shapes and sizes. Even when they resemble certain players, they're just different in ways, right? And I think when Fisher Harris, obviously Adam Fanor-Blake leaves our club, and what Adam brought to our club, he was such an incredible prop forward, and the Sharkies are going to absolutely adore him over there with his attacking ability, right? He gets through a ton of meters. He can get us in great field position. He could also finish. He's got great footwork here and there. Where Fisher Harris, I think, is the more balanced prop forward, right? And with the leadership that he brings to the club, I think that's the area that we all should be pivoting and really looking at it that way. As you said, we struggled defensively last year. The areas where we did not struggle at all last year is getting down the opposite end of the field and getting into the opposite 20 of the field, right? The areas where we struggled with last year was definitely finishing that at the end of the day. And we're hoping that with the youthfulness of Luke Metcalf, Chanel, that will help there. But also on the opposite end of the football field, defending our line, that comes into leadership. That comes into how our middles work, how our middles mobility works. And I think with Fisher Harris there, I think the leadership that he brings to the club, I think that, the work he does in the middle, the way he pushes out from the inside on halves and make them play early, there's little things in the game that, doesn't get brought up in stats. Adam Fanor-Blake, statistically, everyone's like, he's an incredible prop forward. He's incredibly talented, but all the little areas of rugby league, James Fisher-Harris does incredibly well. And I think that's the area that he brings to New Zealand Warriors, right? And even in the area of run meterage, he's no slouch there either. He's not the greatest prop forward in the world, but he still punch out the 120s, 130s. Even at times, I'm pretty sure he averaged the 150 mark anyway, right? So he's not a slouch in that area, but he's just more known for his defensive side of the football. And I think he fits better with the New Zealand Warriors, with the lineup, the system we want to play in rugby league, right? We want to play with a balanced lineup. We want to be defensive hard and rock solid in the back end, and then get down the opposite end of the field, score tries. And I think that he helps us in a majority of those areas. And he looks more balanced to me. That's just my thought anyway. So love AFB, incredible what he did for our club. He's moved on. We brought a guy in, great leadership, great defensiveness, great balance. And I think that he's going to be in for a great, massive season here. Especially with the love he has for his country and his culture. I think that bodes very well being with New Zealand Warriors as well, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's everyone in the chat is agreeing. It's all about leadership. And those things are really, really important, and making sure that, like I saw the videos, the vlogs, and that you hear Barney and Fish just in the trainings, and we talked about last week, is that having someone, he doesn't have to talk on the field, but during the week, you feel that preparation and understanding, the example, all those things. But I think even on the field, when he is on the field, we'll see his commitment, his detail, all those things. So, yeah, I think it's going to go well. Again, people will get caught up in the individualism of the player lost in AFB, but we have to look beyond that and look at what the real issues were. And that was cultural. Last year, I felt culturally we lost ourselves. We lost our way. We lost our way a bit, and we needed to get back to that. And we've been big on that in terms of just having defensive resilience, and that's the first thing I'll be looking at this week is defensiveness, defensive work. So, yeah,
and I want to reiterate my thoughts as well too. Like, just looking at the stats from last year, 2024, Adam Fanor-Blake was a prop of the year, a Daily M prop of the year, average 153 meters per game, incredible, right? The best prop of the game, run meter wise. Fisher Harris is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's about 7 props down from that. He's right there next to Tino Fa'asul-Mala'awi in run meters per average, and no one's questioning Tino's run meterage out of his back end. He's right close to Payne Haas's at 118. He's at 114. So he's still up there in those areas. I don't think we lose that much. Like, it's still a decent drop, but I think that we pick it up in multiple different areas. And the way our system plays our football, our backline gets us into our field position, then our forwards eat off the back of that. I think that just bodes better for our system, having Fisher Harris there defensively, just locking teams down the opposite end of the field.
Yeah, no, I agree, and we just want to see it. We want to see it on the field, and it's exciting as fans to, we're predicting and hypothesizing all this off season. Now we're about to see a lot of the good work that they've done in the preseason and what each individual brings to a team. It can be so transformative. We know that we watched Critter last year go to the Bulldogs and just change the whole energy and vibe. We might see that with Luai. We might see that with a few others. That's just exciting to see what that might look like. Leadership 100%. Is so important, and culture is so important. So, awesome, man. Yeah, shout out Fanatics, man. Hope you're doing well, brother. Yes, we're going to be on with Fanatics straight after this, guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to, when we finish our stream, we're going to send you over to Fanatics as well. So come straight over there as well. So that'd be awesome. Hey, man, it is bold predictions time, but we've kind of changed bold predictions, guys. We had a bit of a mare last night here, didn't we? But we were so pumped. What do we have? We had Dallin for 27 tries or something. I can't remember.
It's so crazy, bro.
We had some of the crazy. We were craziest predictions, man. We were top 4. Everything, we were so pumped from the previous year that we thought everything would translate, but obviously we had the season that we had. But anyway, guys, what we're going to do instead of bold predictions for the year, we're going to do bold predictions for the first half of the season. And I've looked at the ladder, and we're going to go up to around, I think it's 13 or 14 when we play the Sharks, and then we have our first bye. In that week, we'll reflect on these kind of predictions. And it doesn't have to be bold. It can be whatever you think it is. But if you guys are in the chat, chuck in some bold predictions for the first 12 rounds, first half of the season, what you think may happen. We'll read them out. We'll discuss them. But just quickly, I'll put it on Ash. Have you got any bold predictions about our season upcoming, the first half of our season at least?
This is a big one, right? This is a big one. I don't know how bold we really want to get. I think that my bold prediction, Lek Alasima steals a starting role within the first 10 rounds of the season. I think that coming off the bench, he's going to really show some ability, and I think that Murata could even come off the bench and become that prop role that we've tested before. I think that could happen sooner rather than later if Lek is getting named in the top 17. So that's my bold prediction. Do you want my end of year bold prediction too, right?
Go. Do it, man. Who cares?
All right. My bold prediction here is that I reckon that Mitch Barnett will get prop of the year with the Warriors. And I'm not too sure if he's able to do so, but captain of the year, Fisher Harris and Mitch Barnett. I don't know if they can just get a joint award or whatever, but they're the captains of the year in the NRL.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Oh, yeah. Josh saying that you stole his prediction. Yeah, fair enough. Jacko's saying bold prediction, Healy taking over a worn out Egan. Man, that could happen.
That's a bold
that could
one.
actually,
yeah, it could definitely happen.
That could actually happen. And he's got another one here. All 4 teams that went to Vegas were outside the top 8 mid-season. This guy's been anti-Vegas. And hey, you could be right. You could be very well right. Well, who went last year? It was
Broncos, Manly, Rabbits, and Roosters.
So only Manly was in the top 8, I think. So and
a lot of those teams did take a little bit to wind up into the season. I think the Broncos had a pretty decent start from memory, like other than the Roosters game they lost. But yeah, it's about that.
Shot Mackie, that's crazy. Oh, that would be great, wouldn't it? Yeah. RTS will be in top 5 tries. Like you've talked about RTS, you said that he could be on a tier. A Brian To'o level tier of a run. That would be a pretty bold. Yeah, I think something around RTS scoring a certain amount of tries or being one of the best wingers in the game by mid-season could be a bold prediction for sure.
I reckon he can take the crown of. I reckon he'll be up there with Brian To'o and maybe Jacob Carraz for the top run meterage.
Top run meterage
in the competition.
Oh, yeah,
100%. I don't think that's too bold either. I reckon he can do that easy.
SC Warriors saying Luke Metcalf to lead the team to top 8. That'd be cool. Ooh, maybe that might be a good one. That Metcalf guides a team into a top 8, like solid top 8 spot by mid-season, in my opinion. Yep. So those are some good ones, people. No nice comment. Cossie, come on. That would be crazy, but come on, man. It's a bit too bold here. That's very bold, as Jose is saying. Jacko coming with fire. 2 Vegas teams last year fired coaches. Okay.
Yeah. He's
right,
yeah.
So yeah. So then so who would that be? That Ricky? Ricky get fired by the end of the season.
Ricky
and Fitzgibbon's gone. Just quickly off. Do you reckon Fitzgibbon actually cracks it this year or not? He's like, I don't know if that was Fitzgibbon, to be honest, but
See, I like him.
Yeah.
As a coach in that. But you and your Sharks, bud. I love this, mate. I love that. You and your Sharkies.
Nice, Jez. RTS to continue the old double-handed tries. I don't think you can get away with it. I just do not think you got to be able to go one hand in the corner. You just have to. Esky, man, that's a good one. Toby Crosby,
cool.
That would be a cool little one out of the blue. That would have to require a significant injuries.
Yeah.
So maybe an injury prediction might be like 10 injuries by mid-season. Far out, that'd be crazy.
Unless he has some otherworldly form in New South Wales Cup this year, I think that. But would love to see it because he's got a ton of potential. But yeah.
Yeah, Luke Metcalf top 10 in Delhi M when it goes dark. Okay, very nice.
I do like that.
Well, that's an interesting one. Bold prediction: TMM takes over at fullback by around 6. CNK at center. Very nice, very nice. These are some good ones, people. Very, very good. Yeah. Okay, let's just let's keep those coming. We'll see them when we're coming. But I suppose that leads towards kind of, let's just call it now, in terms of, I like to do the halfway of the season. So I've gone to round 14, which is when we have our second bye. So there'll be 13 matches. What is your predicted kind of roughly how many games we'll win, how many games we'll lose in that period? Do you need a thing up to count through?
Yeah, so I'll go through one by one. So against the Raiders to start off with, I think we got a good opportunity to win that game over there against Canberra. I think it'll be a tough game, but Manly Seagulls at Go Media, tough game there, especially with Manly are flying high, so that could go either way. But at home, that definitely helps. I'll give that a loss there just in case. The Roosters coming into the season aren't looking too hot at the moment. We usually do struggle against the Roosters. So I will give us a win there, but there is an opportunity for a loss there as well. The Tigers at Campbelltown with all the hope around them, that could go either way depending on how Luai and stuff really fill into that lineup. But I still think that we should be a better side than the West Tigers coming to this year. So that's a win there. So what am I at? I'm at 3 wins, 1 loss to start the season. Melbourne, I always usually chalk up Melbourne to a loss, and I hate to do it. Hopefully, that's a big game for us to really nick Melbourne. I think we only play Melbourne once this year. If we do it there, that's going to bode very well for us. So, 14 games in right now, looking at the rest of the lineups here. I think when I did my ladder prediction, I think we're at like 8-6, 7-7, around that. I think I gave a lot of votes to Dragons at Win Stadium. Dragons always hard at Win. The Broncos we have fairly early on if they have the season that they're supposed to have. I think I gave them the nod in that one, but that could be a 50-50 game as well. So yeah, I'll go 7-7. 8 of 6 is kind of where my head's at the moment.
Yep. Yeah, that could be very likely. Let's say the Sunday we'll take a win. Against the Raiders. Yeah, let's just say for balance sake, we lose to Seagulls 1-1. Roosters, we'll try to get one at home there. That's 2-1. I'm gonna say 3-1 for now. For Tigers, that's tough. 3-2 Storm, they lost there. Maybe 4-2 Broncos, but again with Madge, it's tough.
4-3.
Yeah, I'm going to go 4-3 by the point of the Knights. I think we might lose either the Broncos and win the Knights, one of those ones. Cowboys, I think they'll go 5-3 there. Yep. Magic, they'll be, I think we'll have a good run there. We always do well at Suncorp. I think we will lose at Win Stadium, 5-4. Yep. Tricky one at Suncorp. I'm going to go our way, swing our way, so 6-4. Raiders do the double, 7-4. I think we'll lose to Rabbitohs. I think, 7-5.
How that season goes,
and Sharks at Shark Stadium with AFB wanting to prove a point might be 7-6. Yeah,
I can't wait. 7 to see that game. That's going to be a cracker game.
Would love 7-6 is huge too. Like I said, we've always said get to 12 games. So if you got 7 out of your first 13, that's pretty good. It means you're working your next, and then you've got a bye coming up, and then you got Origin in between there. You've got heaps of options to And the back end's not too bad in terms of games. I mean, look, I'll just quickly go on the back end. After our last bye, you got Tigers, Knights, Titans. That's a good run. Like Dolphins, Bulldogs. You know, the Bulldogs they might have a drop off, or
Yep.
we've always had close games with them.
100%.
Dragons again, if they're having a bad year. Titans again, ridiculously bad, and Eagles. So there's like good opportunities. Home. That's a good run. Like you can't complain with that. So yeah, like I think even when I did the draw for last year, I thought this was a really good draw. So
yeah,
but 7-6, you feel that's probably fair. Like without being a biased Warriors fans, like
well, that's pretty much what I try to take into it, right? Like I gave a lot of swing games to. I know a lot of sides that usually bode well against us, But one thing I do take note in our draw, we play a lot of decent sides at home, so we do have that little bit of a help of playing these sides at home under a home crowd. If we want to be great this year, I think we've got to take that home field advantage. So playing Manly at home's a big one. Playing the Roosters at home's big for us as well. Unfortunately, Melbourne's away, but the Broncos, if we can knock off the Broncos at home, that's a really good little look for our season. There's a lot of big sides that we come up against at home. The Panthers in round 16. I think that's our only game against the Panthers too, and we got them at home. So that's a
great
that's a
game
good one.
to earmark. Yep. No, that'd be awesome.
So those are the ways I'm sort of looking at it, because when I did my predicted ladder for the whole competition, that's kind of the way I look at it for a lot of sides too. Like the Manly Seagulls, when they play at Four Pines, they're a whole new side. They're an incredible side.
It's hard, it's tough.
Exactly. So I think they're in for a good season because they got a lot of Four Pines games this year, Manly. So, but yeah.
Okay, my man. That's so there you guys go. That's kind of we're gonna come back and it is hold us to it, but the week it will be the round 15 bye, so it'll be like around the 10th of June or something like that. We're gonna do a show and we're gonna review these predictions as well. So and look back on it. I think a lot of in the main one in the chat is saying Metcalf to lead, so that's going to be a big talking point. By then, we'll know. Will Metcalf lead? And yeah, the RTS one, that'll be a good one to see if he is actually dominated from the wing spot as well. I think there's one we will look back on. No, very cool, guys. Okay, we're going to keep it moving. Appreciate everyone. Gaijin, just quickly saw your message come in, man. Great to see you listening in from the GC. Hey, and I hope you're hearing this, but hoping you're well, man. And yeah, shout out to everyone that's actually over in the US, bro. I've had heaps of people message me on Instagram that they're over in the US. So shout out to everyone that's there, man. It's going to be an awesome week. Mm-hmm. That's just amazing. Just quick shout out to the bro Di Henwood. Di was going to go, but unfortunately, just his sickness has come back and hit him hard. And so we're wishing Di heaps. We know Di. He's a massive fan. But he's a soldier and a trooper. So we're with you, brother. Shout out to the bro Di. He's an absolute legend. Would have been great to have him there, but yeah, guys. Hey, 91 of you guys in there. I heard we're at 39 likes. Can we get that to 50 like right now? And then we're trying to get to 100. That'd be perfect. So anyone that hasn't liked, quickly hit that like button. And if you're new as well, guys, subscribe. We've got heaps of content coming up. Got our watch along this Sunday as well. So be here for that. Okay, let's quickly now. This is kind of a hypothetical, but I want you to think: what will we be saying went wrong in the first half of the season? So let's say by that marker, the 10th of June, if everything goes wrong, what will be the reason? If we can just hypothesize, think about what could be the reason why it's gone wrong so far this year. What do you think it could be? And we're just theorizing, guys. We're not saying it will be, but just theorizing. Yeah.
The first big one would be injuries for me. If we lose Fisher Harris, we lose Luke Metcalf. I think a lot of things, especially Luke Metcalf, with the confidence he comes into the season, I think that really shakes our season, but if you want to talk about game plan, certain areas in our football that, if it was to fall apart, it would be our halves not really taking the opportunities that really bode well for them, especially down the opposite end of the field, converting into points. We struggled with that last year. I think we have an uptick in that area, but if it was to go wrong, I think those are the sort of areas where I'm looking at, where I'm worried at. And then the opposite end, if, let's say, Fisher's impact doesn't really happen straight away, and defensively we fall off. That's really the other area as well. But I'll first and all touched on injuries is really where I could see that things going wrong for us. Especially with a lineup with players like Luke Metcalf that has found injuries in the past year.
True.
The positive of last year was a broken leg. That's an injury that's crazy out of the blue. It's not a muscle tear. It's not something over time that worries. But those are sort of the areas where I'm looking at, bro. But yeah, where are you finding what do you reckon goes wrong if it does go wrong?
Yeah, injuries will be one main one. I think game model could again come back to haunt us. I mean, we have been running a similar system for 3 years now. I like the adjustments we're making. I think the boys are getting around the park in different spots, and I think it's faster. The tempo is faster, so I'm hoping that kind of, changes things. I mean, and then, you're probably thinking halves might not click. You're thinking maybe the impact of fish, probably the 4-pack just fails and falls over. The young guys aren't quite ready. It would be that kind of vibe to fill in the injury gap of the older guys. Like Dylan might get it, knocking on wood, but Dylan might get a massive injuries to the older guys that could kind of derail the structure and the leadership. And then the defense just hasn't been fixed. Like you said about Fish and his impact, but just the defense is just still leaking too many points. It's similar to last year in many ways, in my opinion. It'd be the same, because we know for a fact that Webby's system can get you yardage. We're going to have good kicking halves in terms of CHT and Metcalf. So I don't think we'll be lacking for field position. We won't be. I think consistency-wise, we're pretty good with the ball in hand. We're always not making too many errors. I mean, we had spells of bad errors in Sinbins, Montoya, but I just think
the best side last year in error.
Right? I think under Webby, it's been one of the better things is that we have always been consistent. So I think it will be those are the main things I'm thinking.
Yeah,
100%. I mean. Referees, maybe. I don't know. Nah.
That's just been an issue to start with.
Yeah. I honestly don't know, but it could be. I think I'll just quickly checking in the chat. Some are saying defense, some are saying predictable attack, outdated game plan.
So I think we're more likely not to have a predictable attack in a way. More of the factor because of the youth that we have. I think a lot of these guys, having Luke Metcalf, Chanel, I think they're just going to use the ball so much more than what we had under more of experienced halfback of Shawnee. Shawnee obviously relied on his experience. He knows how to get the team around the park. And when they're over experienced at times, they fall back into things that know how to work. You got Luke Metcalf there he's got all the confidence in the world. So he's going to throw the ball around. He's going to really use it. So I'm not too worried in that sort of area of things. But there's still, as you said, the game model is a very high footy IQ game model. It's not about offloads. It's not about, going crazy movements. It's about getting down the opposite end of the field, pinning the team down the opposite end of the field, getting a good turnover, and then biting on that turnover. That's the whole philosophy of our offense. And if it doesn't click straight away, there is an ability for us to fall off. But yeah.
Yeah. And I think Webby is a very consistent coach. And I think he's good at what he does, and he knows what he does very well. I think those I thought there was a good one from T-Mackey is that the forward pack, what was it? Kate Newcourt struggle while Laban and Halasima too green. There could be a little bit of that too, a little bit of transition type thing.
Yeah.
If injuries come. Okay, well we don't want to be too we're hoping everything goes well. We're just kind of getting our heads there. If it does fall apart, what it might be. It might not be any of those reasons. You never know. Actually, just quickly, I saw one point. We might add that in the next part. Actually, I'll get to that. Sorry, guys. But what we'll be saying went right in the first half of the season. So if everything goes well, let's say we're 8-4, or 9-5 or 9-4, something like that. Really positive start. Everything, even though we may have lost a few games, we still feel like we've got a really good solid squad that can make a top 8, or that what we'll be saying is the reason for that by the time we hit the middle part of the season.
I think this is like the same thing of like why I guess a lot of general rugby league fans struggle to place the Warriors and teams like us in the competition. I think if things go right, things can go very right very quickly. I think that would be singing a lot of Luke Metcalf's praises, because I think there's a lot of what happening this year with the confidence that Luke Metcalf brought into trials. I think it's going to be very much, a lot of people's eyes are all on Luke Metcalf and if he can take the next step and he can be the guy, right? So I think if everything goes right, Luke Metcalf would be considered for a lot of people one of the better young halves in the competition. Just out of nowhere, a lot of people are going to be like, he's up there with, the Lockie Galvins, or, Lockie Galvin's still a lot younger, but you know what I mean? A very good young half that the Warriors have got a good one out of nowhere. The other area I think it would go right is that we got one of the most damaging forward pack in the competition defensively, of course, you know what I mean? Bringing Fisher Harris and Mitch Barnett over. Both those guys coming together, the intensity they play with, the consistency they play with. I think that's the thing that could go very right for us. And those guys just dominating forward packs and really, beating forward packs into submission. We're going up against a great forward pack this weekend against the Canberra Raiders, and seeing Fisher Harris and Mitch Barnett run those boys out makes me a lot more confidence going up against forward packs like the Canberra Raiders that have Joseph Tarpanese and Payne Haas's of the world. If we didn't replace Adam Fenor-Blake with a Fisher Harris in that way, I do feel like a lot of people would have worried about that. So if it went right, I think that's the areas that I'm looking at. It's the spine clicking, Luke Metcalf being the predominant man there, and our forward pack just going unbelievable areas and being, talked about as probably one of the better forward packs in the competition, which I think a lot of people are kind of sweeping under the rug a little bit at the moment. So that's where I think.
Yeah, I think those could be really good arguments. I'd say the defense is kind of solid again.
Yep.
Yeah, injection of Metcalf. I mean, the big part of 2023 season was so good was that SJ was on a career best form. And in many ways, yeah, you do need your halves to be solid in the system and really directing around. But I do agree with, we talked about it, like, I think the better balance this team is and the shared responsibility makes for a better overall game. You don't get games where you're so dependent on SJ to win you the game that, I think sharing the workload is important moving forward. So hopefully we see that become dangerous on all sides of the field. The attack isn't predictable. It's versatile. It's like you said, the young bucks kind of bring this energy and change it up and make us kind of an X Factor type team. The other one is we win the close games now. We get the drop goals. We score in the final minutes. We do the things that we couldn't do last year. And we get those close wins. That would be huge. That to see that kind of. I mean, just as much as 2023 was about that Sharks game, where it kind of changed our season and what we thought of the team, and we kind of need another one of those moments to start us off, or it just need to show that we can fight to the end. So those are some of the things I'm thinking. Some good points here, guys. Goal line, goal line defenses would be huge. SC as well. You're right, man. Just defense is going to be so important. I totally agree with that. Back three, that's a good one. Always a good one. We're always pretty solid in that area. So hoping 100%. All the yardage parts is important too. Okay, man. Anything else you wanted to add onto that one?
Well, hopefully it all goes right, Bella, and we don't look at all the wrongs you went into the season. But there's a lot of positives there, right? Like, as I said before, I think if we're a side that a lot of people obviously are worried about a halves pairing coming to this year, but if we click, there's still a lot of talent in this lineup. There's still a lot of very good young talent in this lineup that can bode well for the next couple of years and that. I think just obviously as Warriors fans right now, it's just we want to see it first, and we want to see us just getting into the 8 and see us, mix it some of the best sides in the competition, and then we'll start looking more optimistic to the future, right? But right now, I'm just in that phase where I'm just like, I think if everything goes well, looking at a top 8 finish and seeing players like Luke Metcalf, get put on a pedestal, and even Wade Egan having a great season because he's so vital to our attack. And as I said before, with my bold prediction, having either Fisher Harris or Mitch Barnett getting up there as prop of the year, and one of those guys either getting captain of the year, I think that's where, everything goes right for us.
No, very nice, man. I think there's some good talking points, and let's come back, guys, in a few weeks' time. We'll monitor it as we go, obviously. We'll no doubt we'll be talking about these things, but hopefully by that week, we'll have a good fair understanding of the reasons for and against as to why things are going good or bad. So, just quickly, anyone for you that you feel is going to really step up or rise, or just their performance is going to flourish for you, or they're going to take the next step in their career, or they're going to just do well? What's your thoughts on this space for the year
The
or even
way
half season?
Yeah, the way I looked at this off of last year, and I'm going Chance Nickel Clockstack. I think that with all the talk around the fullback position coming into this year, Tane Tuapiki, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, all that, I do believe that, for me anyway, I believe that Chance is a little bit disrespected in this area. He's got the ability to be one of the best, one of the better fullbacks in the competition. I think that he could run for 250 plus meterage, per game if he really can. I think that a lot of people obviously forget last year he dealt with a lot of injuries preseason. He didn't have a full preseason under, due to fitness issues. I think that he will be one to rise. And another one that I reckon one to rise as well in his own sort of way is Ali Leotoa. I think that, coming to this year, there's a lot of chat around him. A lot of people got his name up in lights. I think that if he plays to his potential, we've got something really, really special there. So I think those are the players for me.
Just shout out to the bro Luke Adams, man. Yeah, sharing with the bro. Yosemite, California. Heading to the desert tomorrow, man. Viva Las Warriors. Yeah, I love it, man.
Let's go.
I hope you're enjoying your trip over there, Luke, man. It's such a cool opportunity, man. Anyone that's over there, man, take some, obviously you're going to take photos. You're going to enjoy yourself. But yeah, no, appreciate and everyone that I've spoken to. Got the bro D-Day and from Instagram from Sweden. He's traveled from Sweden over to the Vegas as well. So heaps of the Warriors fans that are living overseas
That's awesome.
are going over there as well. So and the bro in there I saw he's from Texas. He commented on one of the videos. He's living in Texas at the moment. He's going to go to the game as well. So cool to see all the rugby league people from the States or even the Europe going over, man.
Do you think we'll be the most of the best represented side in Las Vegas? I feel like we are, but do you feel that?
I think so. Look,
just looking at other fan bases like the Sharkies fan
Panthers and Raiders aren't.
notorious.
Yeah, those three fan bases aren't very big. Let's be honest. I don't know. Panthers won 4 titles, but they traditionally haven't been a massive traveling fan base. I mean, economy wise, it's probably easier for Aussie based fans to travel. But I trust our fan base. Yeah, will be pretty big there. I definitely think I'm hoping that ours do I'd love for ours to be the main one. Like I think we will be. So yeah, I got no problem with us being the best. I think we are. We definitely are. Even on like people, I think get twisted that the Warriors fan base is quite big. It's probably not as big as probably the Broncos, maybe in the Souths.
The Broncos are the biggest one,
Yeah, Broncos biggest one, but Warriors have probably the best away fans across the board. Like, so we've packed out Gold Coast, we'll pack out Brisbane. Sydney's pretty good. Melbourne, we always have big crowds at the Melbourne games. So yeah, we do pretty well in the heartlands of the Aussie areas. But I mean, hopefully, I'm hoping some of the Aussie fans probably go over. Heaps of Kiwi fans. Yeah, so it looks pretty good, man.
I'm excited. I'm excited already.
Yeah, man. Oh, that might be your brother I was talking to. He was commenting on you.
Nice.
Bro, Miz, that is a cool logo too. Far out.
Yeah, that's
very nice. Very nice. Okay, we're getting a little bit sidetracked there. Someone said 30% on ticket sales as was. Wow. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I agree with this. Our media team is way better.
Oh,
like I was looking at the camera team list and the font and stuff. I was like, man, this is like kids art. It's like Pixar. Like what's it called? Our team is way better technically, bro. Sorry if anyone's watching from the media teams, but our stuff, our fonts, our colorings, bro. I'm looking at the Canberra team list. I'm like, bro, I could do this on Canberra, like straight up.
It's such a cool team, bro. Like I really do believe that. I think that we are the coolest team in the competition. I think that we will probably, be more in tune with like American fans. For me, anyway, the Broncos are probably the other one that I think a lot of American fans will look at and go, maybe. But the Warriors fans, I think the Warriors just cool in general. I think for me. Anyway.
Yeah, I think we'll steal the show pretty much. Hopefully,
with the win too.
Yeah, with the win. Yeah. Penrith. Yeah, Penrith. Although they've won so many titles, they don't have a big, massive traveling fan base. No. Sharkies are tiny. We all know that.
And the Raiders are small in Canberra is
So we should technically outnumber everyone. Okay, who will fall? And then we don't want our players too, but who has propensity? Who has a propensity to fall? You could say Egan. I mean, we're hoping there isn't. Could have a little drop. For me, Egan, he just needs to stay healthy the whole year. And don't spike or be too low. Just like stay consistent. That's my view anyway of Egan. Like,
agreed.
I think that's kind of where I'm at with him. Trying to think who would drop off. Sorry, let me just get to this. Just quickly. Tony, man, thank you for the $10, man.
Thank you, Tony.
We appreciate it every time, man. Thank you very much. Thank you, Tony, bro. We appreciate you. You're a beast, man. You're a beast. And you're very wealthy, obviously. You make a lot of money. No, we appreciate it. We'll take it. Thank you, Tony. We love you, brother. So man. What you predicting anyone will drop off?
This is more like, if we were to drop off, right? I think that Maratinir Corday, Kurt Capewell, and those areas, right? That there's the set of areas where I'm looking at in our side that probably have the ability. Also, the guy that I said should rise due to the pressure under position, but Chance Nickel-Coxtag as well. Like, if he doesn't start the season off, I think that the fan base will start looking at him and really, putting the big eye on him and say, like, listen, we could do better at fullback, when I believe that he's good enough there. But anyway, I think that, there's areas for those guys to be really spotlighted. So I feel like those are the guys I'm sort of looking at that hopefully they don't. But, they're definitely the ones I think the fan base are really looking at coming into the season.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I just say for me, it's the older boys, getting niggles, dropping off. RTS could have some niggles and kind of fall away. Let's not kid ourselves. These guys are a little bit older. I'm looking more of the older guys to kind of drop off a little bit. I don't see the young guys. Yeah, I think the young guys will have pretty good season, in my opinion.
Yep.
Okay, that's good, guys. Let's get into. Look, we've got another 23 minutes. We're gonna shoot over to Fanatics at 9:30, I think. So we won't go too long. But we'll just quickly do look at this game. I don't think we'll do a combined 17. But I think what we'll do is we'll just look at the teams. Yep. Let's look at the Canberra team. We've got KO Weeks at fullback, Savelio Tamale on the wing. Tamoko's there, Chris is there, and Savage. That's pretty good backline in my opinion. Strange and Fogarty. Then in the front row you got Horsburgh, Starling, Tapine, Hudson, Young, Hoskins, and Smithies. And then off the bench, Owen Paddy, Simi Sasangi, Josh Papali, and Ata Mariota. Look, solid squad. Do you notice many additions in the off season for them? It looks like a pretty much similar squad that they've always had.
A lot of their additions are younger boys, for their younger age. Ethan Sanders that we got here in reserves has moved over from Parramatta Eels. Just little additions that are coming through underneath. Tamale, he's from the Dragon system as well. So a lot of their signings have been just more junior based. I think that's where the Raiders are looking at more so in the future. Like, they want to build for the future now. But yeah, it's definitely, it's not a brand new side, but there is a couple of new faces and a couple of new spots that they have there. Owen Paddy, a big one. Obviously, he's a rugby league guru, CBA. Really a kid to watch out for. He's a Queensland hooker. Really talented. Yep. So him getting a 14 jersey for the Raiders that have struggled with hookers since Josh Hodgson is definitely a big plus for them as well.
No, that'd be good. They'll be a good one to watch out for. The younger guys there. How do you think? I mean, Strange and Fogarty, they've had a season under their belt together. How do you think they'll go this year? Those two kind of combine well at times. They kind of work. What do you feel about those two?
Yeah, they're very how would I put it? They're halves pairing that a very simple halves pairing in a way. Like they got a great ability at what they do, but like, you know, Jamal Fogarty's best ability at the moment in rugby league is his kicking game. He's got such a big boot behind him. He can get the Raiders into good field position due to that boot. And Ethan Strange, he's such a powerhouse, you know, running the football. We saw it last year when we came up against the Raiders. At times he can be struggled to contain. So just a classic running six like they had with the Jack Whiten type back in the past. So very simple sort of halves pairing. You know, they're not going to do anything crazy extravagant like, you know, let's say 4-man cutouts or anything like that. But they're going to just run the team around the park and play very strong and direct, especially for Ethan Strange. So, that's really the way I see the halves for the Raiders this season.
And then for KO Weeks, I mean, he's been the talk of the town in many ways in terms of one of their star players. Do you think he carries on and keeps building his game into the next this season?
Yeah, he's definitely a player that's still learning that position in a way. He showed great ability there. Obviously, in the Prime Minister's 13, had some great moments. His speed is the first thing that everyone noticed, and you can't buy speed. Like, you know, he's full of it, right? Like he's an incredible fullback in that area, incredible athlete. But it's all the little things playing fullback. He's still young in that area, so I still think he can get caught out positioning wise, stuff like that. A lot of it he does because he's so quick. He probably relies on that in moments as well. But he's still got great ability as well, and he will be a guy to continue to watch out for in this game because I think that's where their spark more so for me comes from. You know, KO Weeks, if he pops up in moments in behind the ruck, he's got a really nice passing game to him as well. I think that he's definitely the one to really circle to watch if he's out the back of shape. He can definitely tear us apart there too. So still be wary, but I do think there is moments under the high ball. There's moments out of positioning that we can really target him, especially in attack. If he gets into the goal line and defense, I reckon we can really target him and he become a spot. So that's really the way I'm sort of watching him, but he can definitely be a guy that can really hurt our night as well with long field tries and stuff like that.
Yeah, dangerous. I mean, that was it. Yeah, that one long field try that he had was insane. His breakneck speed is amazing.
Incredible.
Horsburgh, Starling and Tapine. I mean, we talk about the hooker spot with Starling. I mean, he's traditionally a bench hooker. But I mean, obviously they got Owen Paddy who's looking at coming in and filling in. But Horsburgh, I know he played a lot of cup this year. Is he actually genuine in terms of being a first grade option, or is he's picked up his game, or Ricky's put him in the good books, or what's the go with Horsburgh, you reckon?
Yeah, a little bit of a down year from Horsburgh last year. Obviously, the year before that, he made the Origin squad. He was in around talks of that. He's got that ability. He's a high work rate type of prop forward. Actually, like I know of him through personal friends and stuff like that. I haven't met him properly, but I know of him. You know, he's from around my area. A really talented prop forward. Looks very fit coming to this year. He's very polarizing as a player. You know, a lot of people obviously saw him fight Jacob Laban last year. He's a fiery type. I think if we can push him to the level, he can explode, and we can use that to our advantage as well. But he's got a lot of talent too, right? Like, you know, if he hones all that in, he can definitely be a damaging prop forward. A great buy for Supercoach too, for Supercoach fans out there. And then playing off the back of Tarpane as well. I think those two are definitely going to be tough to handle to start with, but I think our boys can definitely handle those two. Tarpane is definitely going to be tough though.
Yeah, no, he is. Young, the naughty boy. Who did he have the little inflatables fight with? Hudson Young? Was he with
Morgan Smitty's brother? Morgan Smitty's the 13.
So the back row in the lock fighting. What the heck, man? That is crazy. Inflatables. So they pressed a fire alarm, and then they started fighting each other with the inflatables. That's so NRL,
rugby league players, bro.
Rugby league. and then the Americans typical overreacting because it's they hear a fire alarm. They got their weapons on them.
They got weapons.
They got weapons, you know.
Isn't it crazy with Americans, bro? It's completely backwards. They see inflatables and think weapon. We see guns and we think weapons, right? Like it's totally backwards over there.
Oh man, they'll pull a gun on anyone, bro, these days out there. No, straight up. Okay, so do you think that? So they're starting still. Obviously, Ricky doesn't. He wants to win a game. He's not going to punish them.
Yeah.
But do you think that impacts them, Hudson or Morgan? Or
To
maybe
be
they're going.
honest,
Maybe they're trying to prove a point now for Ricky. Like we promised, like we effed up, but we're going to do a
yeah.
job for you. You know what? It could be work both ways, really.
Well, that's exactly it, bro. And like, it could go many different ways. That's why I kind of don't look at the story as like anything too crazy for me. I think that it just happens in rugby league and can really get blown up into proportion. Obviously, we don't know like those boys doing like that in Vegas where we're trying to grow the game, all that sort of stuff, right? But really, like, yeah, I don't think that's really going to change how they play on the weekend. Hudson Young on the best of days is an emotional character as well. So again, another character that I think that we can really use that to our advantage if he's highly emotional in the game, get penalties out of him, really roll down the field the way we can with that side of things. And Morgan Smitty's as a player, he's a rock solid 13. He doesn't do anything special, right? Like defensively, he's very good, but he hasn't got really any offload game. He hasn't got really any ball playing game to him. So he doesn't really hurt us in that area. He's just more of going to be a nuisance when we're trying to attack through the middle because defensively he'll always be there. So I really don't think it's going to change too much.
Nah, fair enough. Okay, lastly, the bench there. I mean, I just go back to our bench and I feel really confident.
Yeah.
Webby's obviously taking a bit of a risk on Egan. I mean, at a pinch, like you said about Aaron Clark can jump in there. That may be. Yep. But yeah, I'm excited. Does their bench actually match ours? Or I mean, Josh Papali's on the bench now, and Mariota. I think I've seen them maybe once or twice. Simi Sasangi. Yeah, they're still. Is that still a pretty big bench? I mean, Ricky loves his big bench. He loves forwards, pretty much. But can they match it with ours, or is it quite even? What's your opinion of those two teams?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fairly unassuming bench in a way. Like Owen Paddy's got a ton of talent, but he's still like not first grade proven yet. So there's when you look at our bench, we got a lot of players that have touched first grade. We've seen them have great moments of first grade. So looking at it from that way, Simi Sasangi, really good, talented edge back row up, hits a really nice line. He's talented in that area. He's still like young to first grade as well, so there's still growing pains there in that area. Adam Mariota has looked very trim in the preseason. Again, not a guy that I think will hurt us in the game, but definitely a guy that they can bring on and do some work for the middle. Josh Papali is definitely the one to continue to watch out for. I know he's getting older, but all the accounts in preseason that he's trimmed up and looked really, really nice. So and he's got all the ability in the world as a prop forward, as we all know, even though he's getting older. But looking at our bench, really solid with Dylan Walker, Jackson Ford, Vai Moanga, Leka Alasima. I think that we got youthfulness, aggression. We've got expansive ball playing ability with Dylan Walker and the way you get leadership off the bench. And we got a tireless worker that, like, I think that our bench, for me at the moment, gives us a big tick in this area. But they're very unassuming with the Raiders. Like, they've got some guys with ability, like Owen Paddy, as I said before.
Very good, very nice. Just quickly, guys, thank you, brother Josh Hill. Love the show, lads. Thank Just you, love it so much. As always, brother. Thank you, man. We appreciate you. Thank you very much. Okay, let's just quickly get into score prediction. A very tricky one to call. Guys getting used to travel, jet lag. You never know what can happen in Vegas until our boys might be doing a version of the Hangover, New Zealand version, and then come game day, it might fall. I mean, there's variables. It's a neutral ground, shorter field, from what I understand. It'd be a different environment, but from a squad perspective on paper and from what we've seen, I feel confident in the boys. Do you have us? Do you think it's a close game? Do you think it's a high scoring game? How do you have this one going down, Ash? And what's your score prediction?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fairly close game. I do think that the start of the season, usually for many sides, it never really blows out score-wise. I think last year there was a lot of points being scored in Vegas. I think that's come to the opportunity of Vegas. But I still think with both the sides coming out, like the Raiders are notoriously known for really getting into a grind fest with teams. Even in trials, you know, when they played against the Sharkies, a lot of their attack has came off the back of like second phase sort of stuff, or like, you know, bounce of the ball. Not a lot of it really comes off the back of really good shape for me. I don't think they can hurt us in that area, but I think they can hurt us obviously just grinding out the football game and little opportunities where it can poke nose through with KO Weeks maybe breaking a couple tackles and opening up the field. So those are the areas that I'm worried about with Canberra is, you know, if they really lock down defensively and they just become very stout, I think we can get frustrated, especially with two young halves. But I'm looking at like a 1-12 sort of contest as well. Like overall, just whenever we play the Canberra Raiders, it usually is a tough game. So I'm going the sort of realm of the 24 or 24 to 12, maybe a 20 to 12 sort of look. Enough of a little bit of like, you know, we have a little bit of a gap there between the sides, but I think it's not enough to get a 13 plus score line. I think they're going to be a little bit tougher than that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's going to be a close one. I think there's going to be, I'm thinking a 1-12. But I'd still see us winning. I think we're really well prepped. I think we're going to do well over there. If anything, though, you might find that there'll just be some moments in the games where we lapse in concentration and they score two quick tries, that type of thing. But maybe we dominate the game, but they find a way back in. But I think it's kind of a 1-12 for us at least, but a relatively close game in my opinion. So, Tars going 12 plus. There you go. But it should be a good game, guys, and we'll get to 100%. See. Great to see Metcalf. So great to see Chanel, Roger on the wing. You know, we finally found a spot for him after a year at centre. Tane on the wing as well. Chance at his peak. He's looking fit and sharp. Fisher Harris is going to be that as well to look at, and how does that impact? So, and then you got the young pups, Vaimonga, Halasima, Leatoa. That's going to be great too. What we've been working on. So,
I think it's going to be a tough slog for the first 20. I really do think it's going to be a dogfight. But as you said before, and like as you pointed out, I think our bench, as soon as the injection of a Dylan Walker comes off the bench and we start to get a little bit more expansive and finding the little gaps where we can really attack the Canberra Raiders, especially with some of their players that have very inexperienced in first grade, like Tamale, KO Weeks. Still Strange. Savage is still trying to find his feet, and Strange obviously as well. We still have areas where we can attack. And when the bench come on, I think that's where we're going to really open up the game a little bit. So that's what I'm praying on anyway. So, excited.
Yep. Hey, guys, 84 of you guys in here. Can you please hit that like? Let's get it up to 100 or close to. That's going to help the algorithm and support all of our content. We appreciate everyone watching along. I hope you're enjoying yourself as well. Perfect, man. Let's just quickly get into Morgan Harper. Signed into the top 30 effective immediately. I saw that comment. I was like, oh crap. So we've obviously just going backwards. Tolu resigned, retired. We upgraded Tanistel Smith. We've upgraded Edemir, I think. We've upgraded a few of these other guys. Probably use some of that money. Now we kind of realize we do need some cover in the back line, a bit more experience. And we've gone with Morgan Harper for that. And is not ideally the best guy from everyone's understanding, but we talked about that. If anyone can turn water into wine, it's Webby. So do you think? Do you think that? Do you think he can turn around? And in any way, does he even play? Is he just playing a New South Wales Cup and being depth until like a Berry gets back, or does he take over from Kossi's position, or is Kossi better than There's all this argument at the moment, but what's your thoughts ultimately on Morgan Harper and how does he fit into this? Because he's top 30. That's pretty great. He's actually gone above a few of our Cup guys as well. So, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that for me, it's just a depth signing. At least, like I think a lot of people are hoping on that as well. Like when I see the signing, it's not an exciting signing, right? I think a lot of fans obviously we're waiting on like a bigger sort of outside back sort of name. But me and Josh obviously spoke about this when we did a couple of streams. I think we also got to understand that the position we're in right now with the Warriors, I think we need to cover in that depth, in that area. But without a guy that's really going to take over and hold back a spot from a couple of juniors that we got coming through, and cause more headaches in that area. So, honestly, like, yeah, as I said, like it's not an exciting signing. He's a solid player. He's an okay player. He's not a great player, and some would say bad player because of the Sifa Talakai game. I think that holds for every player, and I think rugby league fans, as soon as you see a bad game, like one bad, horrible game, out of a player, you could label that player something, and then their confidence shoots down, and they become that thing, right? Like we've seen it with Nick Gossi. I think he's my biggest example. Is we've seen him play that one game the way it did, and for now, his confidence is absolutely shot. And I don't think he'll ever regain to become a player that he first hoped to be. That I think that a lot of people would have seen. But yeah, I don't think he'll touch our first grade squad this year. And if he does, it does show that there's a little bit of a worry with depth in that area. But yeah, I think he'll be playing a lot of cup this year, to be honest.
See you later, Tony. Have a good one, man.
Later, brother.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's I think he's just going to be cup cover and filling a spot, I suppose. But yeah, this is probably, if he does get a shot, do you think it's his last chance? Or he's had his last chance already, maybe. I mean, I'm not sure where he can go from here in terms of his career.
I would definitely say that. But as you said before, like, I've seen Webby turn certain players that I didn't think were going to be anything special of signings into great signings. Like, a lot of people are probably looking at Jackson Ford, and whatever your thoughts on Jackson Ford here and there, like error wise, this and that. But, he's had some really good moments there. Like he's turned players like that into decent players. Mitch Barnett, when he came from Newcastle Knights, incredible player at Newcastle, right? He still had potential there, but he's turned into a premier prop in a competition. I still believe he's a premier prop in a competition. So he has the ability to get the best out of players. It's just like how far can you push Morgan Harper to be? What type of player can he really become for me? I don't think he's got the massive uptick or like a high ceiling as some other players, but I think he'll be just a solid player that fits in every so often if we really do need it, but I don't think we'll need it too much, right?
Yeah, I think, Josh, you might be right. I think it'd be a 1 year signing or something.
Agreed. Yeah.
Something similar.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think MGT, I'm not too sure.
Still around the traps, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's all kind of an agreement that it's kind of short term, filling a spot. We had to use some of that money, I suppose, and that type of thing. Okay, guys. So let's just quickly last one before we head over to Fanatics. So we're going to send you guys over to Fanatics. When you are there, just put in a Waz Up raid in the chat. I think that lets people know that we've come over from. I've seen other content do it, so chuck in the Waz Up TV raid in the chat when you go over. Fanatics knows that we brought you over. So Harold Metz, bro. Let's just quickly do this, and then we're going to wrap up, guys. But yeah, Harold Metz, man, Bishop Neal, amazing try. Right. What an athlete, what a player. But yeah, what was your thoughts on the game for the Harold Metz? Unfortunately, I think we lost in the end there, but yeah, still some good performances.
Yeah, 22-16, we go down late. Unfortunate. I did think that we had moments where we were dominant there. Bishop Neal scoring a try early. He had another one taken off him a little bit later on that I was a bit skeptical on as well. But, first loss in Harold Metz. It's not the worst loss in the world. The Steelers came out and they played some good football. As you said, Ronan Byford was incredible in this game, scoring 2 tries.
Yeah, Ronan was mean.
The last couple of weeks. Bro, he's really talented. So, there's still great signs there. We still got incredible talent in that position there. We can't win them all. But, obviously errors and stuff like that is really the area we need to fix up on to really continue to win a lot of games. We're still running low in a couple of areas of depth-wise. I think there's been a couple of players out with injury that we've changed around. But, yeah, the big names to really come out of this game, I think you would probably agree as well. Bishop Neal for that highlight package that he's put on, and Ronan Byford for the last couple of weeks, he's been absolutely incredible.
Ronan was awesome, man. Amos Mosia Tia was good in his first stint. Kind of came and played prop in the second stint. wasn't the greatest. I thought it was pretty good performance. Halves could definitely work on stuff. I mean, it's always kind of when you compare them to the Illawarra halves, the Illawarra team was just really slinging it around, really pushing our guys around. Great execution on the last tackles. Real individual brilliance kind of got us over the line, but got us in the fight. But I think the boys tired a little bit and just a little bit outclassed. But that's credit to the Illawarra team. But I thought our boys put in a good fight. Just some errors at wrong times, all that type of stuff as well. So, but it's looking really positive, and I think we're nearly halfway into the comp. So it's a quick turnaround for these boys. They got to really got to peak at the right time. And just talking about peaking, not quite there, but I think our boys are rounding out in the SG ball, losing unfortunately in the last minute, pretty much last 2 minutes try. But the performance was quite solid from our boys. I thought the halves got the boys around the field. I thought that we played really well. Kahu Kappa again involved. The fullback was a lot better too. I forgot his name. I think it was Ratcliffe, was it? He had some good moments. Just tired towards the end. But any thoughts on the SG ball from what you've seen?
Yeah, bro. Obviously coming to this game, almost getting their first win of the season would have been so good to do, but obviously some individual errors really held us back in this game, especially the last one. I think unfortunately our winger, our back, I think it was Mason Lome Hindel, unfortunately had a poor one under the high ball there. It might have been, I think it was Hidel. Ball bounced the right way. Steelers nick it from us at a death. But other than that, a pretty solid performance in areas. I still think like Noah Jensen's playing great football there with the Warriors. Maui playing incredible football in this game as well. Him playing off the back of Joseph Ratcliffe. I think that was a really nice try that I saw. Joseph Ratcliffe, if he cleans up a couple of errors as we were discussing in the back room, he's definitely a big talent. He played in a Harold Matt side last year. But yeah, there's still a lot of obviously big names everyone's watching out for. Kahu Kappa playing on the edge. Hopefully you don't see that too much, but he definitely got a little bit more of the ball in this game. And Compton Purcell, bro, every time he touches that football, he's so damaging to watch. I'm so excited to continue to watch him.
Yeah, man. Now, there's definitely some talent there, and it's good watching the boys. I mean, I'm still learning the names and all that, but you're starting to see players start to step up a bit. You're starting to see the ones that kind of have a bit more about their game. So, keep hanging around, guys. We'll keep doing content, but also go to our bros at Warriors Anonymous. Amazing content is always over there. Great work. Our Warriorholic as well, and all the others that cover a lot of the junior development. But yeah, okay, guys. But that wraps up our show. We better not hold up Fanatics too long. He's probably going to start up his stream. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please hit that like and subscribe. Come over to the next. We're going to be talking for another hour and a half or 2 hours with Fanatics, so we'll probably just be repeating or adding more. So we'll see you over there. But yeah, hit the like for the bro when you get over there and hit him with the Wires Up TV raid. That'd be awesome. Okay, catch you later, guys. Peace.